This is Emmett.
And Jessica.
And you're listening to the Friendly Atheist Podcast. Please go to patreon.com/Friendly Atheist Podcast to support this show. Get your ad-free and bonus episodes. And thank you to all those people. There were dozens of people who came out for our 600th episode / everything Jessica is going on party. It was wonderful to get to meet so many of you, some of whom came 2 years ago when we did this before for the 500th, and so many new people who said wonderfully nice things and drove in from like Minnesota and Wisconsin.
Wisconsin was just like my parents. But like somebody came from the UP. Somebody flew in that. We thought UP or maybe like kind of northern Minnesota. But then somebody flew in from LA, and I had met him at the LA meetup, which had to have been 2014.
People are super nice about wanting to come out.
Super nice, generous. People brought gifts. It was.
You almost make me want to go out more.
I know. We had
Won't happen, but
no, we had a nice time. It's once every 2 years. We get Hemming out and into the world. Let him breathe a little bit. But it was absolutely stunning. I think my favorite part was that there were maybe 5 kids who had been there 2 years ago.
Yeah. All grown up.
I mean, one of them ran up to me and just screamed in my face, "I remember you from last time!" And that was outstanding. It was wonderful. The same little girl grabbed Dottie's leash and just kind of did laps with the other kids around the brewery. It was wonderful. Everybody was so kind. As is last time, we absorbed a couple who was not part of it, just was like standing nearby and just sort of like got seized in.
So thank you to those who came out.
Thank you.
I mean, that'll teach a lesson to the rest of you who didn't show up.
Yeah, it was wonderful. Some people posted pictures on the Facebook group. We took a big group shot, but we're not going to post that because it's got like people's children.
And I don't know who's okay with having a photo like public, so we won't do that. But we took it for ourselves and it was nice. Yeah,
it was wonderful. Before you get started, we haven't talked in the main show about a big new step we've taken in this podcast.
It's only taken a couple months to figure it out.
Gang, this has been truly one of the nightmares, the waking nightmares of my life.
If you are a $5 Patreon subscriber, one of the perks you can now get is a video of both the main episode and the bonus.
Yep.
Like right now, I'm looking into the camera, deep into your eyes.
Yep.
And that is a thing we've been testing out, trying to make happen. And we're going to spend a little time just trying to get the kinks worked out on Patreon.
Yeah.
But like last week, if you remember, you got access to videos of this.
That's right.
Some people I know listen to this only on audio in the car. But for those of you who might want to see our stupid faces while we are discussing all these stories... it's a very cool system in place.
Yeah.
So
it's been
thanks to Jess for making it happen. That was all.
Thank you for my husband for talking me off the ledge so many times. Also, this means I'm officially the producer.
Yes. There you go.
Which means I hit one button to record, one button to stop recording.
We are currently muted, and so none of this is going to make it.
And we didn't mention it last week because we didn't know it was going to work, and we didn't want to get out over our skis. So. We're hopefully going to be able to add in audio and video eventually, but boy, I cried so many times trying to do this. So I'm just going to be happy with what we've got. You can see my gallery wall behind Hemmett and the kind of blank wall behind me.
Yeah.
Yes, I have a lot of wine corks. I don't know what to do with them. If anybody
you can see our studio. It's called a kitchen.
It's called my kitchen.
Yeah.
But, all right. Let's
start with this. First story I wanted to talk about involves this high school football coach, which again, normally I wouldn't talk about this because who cares? Random high school football coach. But remember Joe Kennedy, the guy from Washington State, who wanted to pray at midfield, do these showboaty, everyone look at me, prayers.
But quietly for himself.
So he said, after football games.
Because when I want privacy, I go to the 50-yard line.
That's right. And the Supreme Court basically said, that's fine. That's not coercive. That's off duty because the final whistle has blown.
Yeah.
And it was a dumb decision. Whatever. There is a football coach in Tennessee right now who is, I think, trying to be the next Joe Kennedy, except none of the facts align. So he's just flat out breaking the law.
Hey, gang, why did the only good Kennedys kick it so early? What? Why are we? I feel like the Kennedys are no longer sending their best people.
Kennedys are not sending their best. So this one involves Trey Campbell, who is a football coach at Northwest High School. And basically, this guy is a volunteer football coach, but he works at the school as a student resource officer. He's like the cop on campus.
Yeah, it's a cop.
Right.
Probably has a gun because America rules. Yay, America.
So, works as a cop, but volunteers as a football coach. And here's what happened. Their season started about 2 weeks ago. The football team's official first game was 2 weeks ago. And according to news reports, he spent the first half of the game, like actual game, quote, holding a Bible and leading players in prayer.
Instead of coaching?
Instead of coaching, or unless he thought that was coaching.
Wait, to whom?
To the players people, on the sidelines.
Screaming it through a megaphone?
I have to assume.
What was he saying to the people on the field? I was looking for
video and I didn't have video.
Damn it.
I think he's just on the sidelines talking to the
video.
kids.
It is 2025. There is video of everything.
I did look for a video of the game and I couldn't get it. But
public access TV is going the way of the dodo.
He's talking on the sidelines, and apparently there's also allegations that he is preaching to kids during his day job as a cop at the school.
Oh boy, what do I love more than a cop is a Christian cop.
Yeah, there you go. So I think even the school, when they're at the football game, like the administrators are at this game, it's a big deal, right? Yeah. First football game of the season, or at least first home game of the season. And they're like, oh, he can't be doing this.
Yeah.
And I think they knew we're about to get sued if we allow this to go on because it's so obviously illegal. The principal basically went up to him by halftime and was like, you need to stop. Like, all of this.
Yeah.
And he said, And so the principal, I'm sure she said this politely, she's like, then you need to go.
Yeah.
And so he leaves. But not before
Before dragging a cross over his shoulder right off that football field, right?
He later admitted to reporters, he's like, all the allegations that were made against him, he's basically admitted they're true. Here's what he said afterwards. I stood by my faith because that's what I told my boys they needed to do. I told them I love them, but this is just the beginning of their journey with Christ, and that this is what it looks like when you are doing right by the Lord. The enemy does whatever he can to draw you from the Lord. I don't know what any of that means.
Who's the enemy? Is it me? Like,
I assume it's the left, because anytime I've heard that word the past 2 weeks, it's just been, the left. But I will tell you this, it didn't help them with football.
Oh, how'd they do?
Because guess how that score ended?
Was it like John 3:11, like the Bible verse? 3:11, John 3:11?
I don't know where you're going with that.
It was a pun. Like 3:11, like there's a Bible verse. John 3:10.
Not even close. They lost 35-0. 35-0.
Well, they were busy praying.
They were busy
doing
praying.
the prayers.
So here's the deal. The principal has taken this guy off the field. And the question is, okay, but he did break the rules. And he very clearly is like, you bring me back on the field and I will continue breaking the rules. So at that point, the Montgomery County, Tennessee Sheriff's Office, they're the ones who actually hired this guy to be a resource officer.
Oh, that's right.
And so the Sheriff's Office is like, wait, he's preaching to kids during the... Let's put him on paid leave so he's out of the school while we investigate, which that's fine.
What's a girl got to do to get paid leave around here?
And there are now 2 investigations taking place. One's from the sheriff's office, one's from the school district, trying to figure out, we've heard all these things, let's figure out what's true. So to be clear, no one would have cared if this dude prayed on his own, by himself.
Correct.
Even after the game, a la Joe Kennedy. No one would have cared if students prayed on their own, because that's the thing they could always do. The only issue here is that this public school football coach was using his position as a football coach to like target these teenagers, which I think conservative Christians would have a problem with if this guy were Muslim or atheist.
But he's not, and so they don't, and that's the world we live in.
Yeah. So that was Friday night. By Tuesday, the school district says...
Did this all happen in the last, 5 days?
September 5th was Friday night, the football game.
Okay.
This is a couple days after that. By Tuesday, the school district is done with this investigation, and they're like,
That's swift.
yeah, it's pretty much everything is true. the allegations are true and it did not just start at the football game. And I want to read you what the district spokesperson said.
Okay.
In response to this investigation, they released a lengthy statement because they can't just release the investigation because it involves personnel.
Oh, I see.
So they released a statement to the media saying, here's what we are allowed to tell you. Okay. And it's very long.
Oh, God.
And I'm just reading through some of this. Okay. Beginning the morning of September 5th, Friday, witnesses observed behavior from Campbell that was inconsistent with those standards and with his normal conduct. Like, he got weird starting that morning.
Oh, so this is new behavior.
That's what they found.
Oh,
at the beginning of the school day, Campbell carried a Bible and told staff he was, quote, walking in the Spirit today, quoting scripture about rebuking those who come against you.
A lot of rebuking these days.
Tons of it. Witnesses reported that Campbell explained that during the volleyball game, like the night before, the Spirit gave him a word from scriptures to tell the girls on the team. And after sharing it at halftime, the team came back to win. So now on Friday, he's like, I know what I got to do.
All I'm hearing is that an adult man tried to get into a girls' high school locker room. That's what I'm hearing.
Nothing about a locker room, but I think he's like, I gave them a pep talk at halftime and it worked. Anyway.
I demanded the attention of teenage girls for no specific reason. Guys, stop doing that.
Anyway, Friday. Witnesses reported and video footage corroborated that Campbell carried a Bible with him, spoke with students as they entered the school that morning, in the cafeteria, and other areas of the school while quoting scripture from the Bible.
Do you know a particular scripture he was quoting?
Nope, and it just
I know
random.
It doesn't matter.
Anyway, I'm skipping ahead here. At the football game, multiple witnesses observe and video corroborated Campbell spending significant time throughout the game on the sidelines with players and other students quoting scripture, holding a Bible up to spectators, and leading prayers. A cell phone video surfaced that appeared to show Campbell step in front of the student section, leading a faith over fear chant. So this guy's just rallying the crowd now. You know what he's not doing in any of this?
Coaching. I mean, I don't think football's great either, but this is not it.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
There's more. Campbell then became visibly emotional and confrontational when approached by school administration to address concerns of proselytizing in his official role. Multiple witnesses stated that when asked to stop causing a disruption and to put his Bible away, Campbell stated loudly that I can't do it, won't do it. My job is to save these babies.
Oh, God.
They tried to de-escalate the situation a second time and emphasized, we don't want you to leave. I'm paraphrasing. We don't want you to leave, but you are crossing a line. And then he chose to leave voluntarily.
And this is at a football game in Tennessee.
Yes.
If he can't get the people behind him here.
Last part. Witnesses described him as, quote, extreme, defiant, and unreasonable on Friday, but also consistently noted that they had never seen him act this way before.
How old is he?
Older. I don't know, 30s, 40s, somewhere 30s, 40s, in there.
Okay. So he's not like 24.
Right.
And,
no, he's older.
Started hearing voices or something.
No one's ever seen him act like this, but something happened that week where he's crazy and creepy and Christian.
Ooh, listen, I do a lot of true crime. Did something happen in his personal life?
Idea.
Did he go through a breakup? These are the things we look for before erratic behavior.
For what it's worth, when I'm reading through all this, my first thought is the district seems to be handling this correctly by the book.
Yeah.
Like they took the concern seriously. They recognized the problem. They took action when they found out about the problem and they confirmed what happened. And they're like, it's not okay. They addressed it. Right. Now, what they did not say in that statement is here's how we're going to punish this guy. They did not say that. And maybe they're waiting for the sheriff's department to finish their investigation before they are like, we're going to ban this guy from the football team.
So is he technically an employee of the sheriff or an employee of the school?
As far as I can tell, he's an employee of the sheriff's department.
And then volunteers.
And they put him in the school.
I see.
And the school allows him to work as a volunteer football coach.
Okay.
Right. So he's not on the paid staff of the school district, but he is a government employee nonetheless.
Okay.
So if you are Campbell, at this point, what do you do?
Is Campbell the coach?
Yep,
Stop,
he's the coach.
I mean, if I'm Campbell, none of this shit is happening to him, so it's a specious question.
Like, you clearly are like, how can I
de-escalate this? I want to keep my job, I assume. I need to pay for things like food and housing.
So yeah, how can I become a martyr for Christianity at this point? How can I become the next Joe Kennedy?
I mean, he's eyeballing a GoFundMe, isn't he?
He wants his Pure Flix movie made about him.
God.
So instead of admitting, yeah, look, I screwed up, I crossed the line, no, you pretend you're a victim of discrimination, right? So last Friday, September 12th, less than a week ago, the football team plays their next game. And this is an away game at a nearby high school. Campbell and a handful of community members decided we're going to meet up outside the stadium, since apparently we're not allowed in the stadium. They meet outside the stadium for Friday night Lights of Faith. They're going to hold a little candlelight vigil outside the football stadium.
First of all, Friday Night Lights of Faith is absolutely nothing. You heard lights and just connected two disparate words. That's not a good
So they have a prayer
title.
They have a prayer circle honoring his sacrifice. He is a part of this.
His sacrifice of his paid leave?
Yes.
Okay.
Then Campbell does not participate in this part, but the other members, they decide to hand out Trump Bibles to passersby.
Oh, that's who bought all of those.
Yeah. And they were not alone, because guess who else was with them? A guy named Trace, T-R-E-S, I don't know how you want me to pronounce that. Trace Whittem, who is a Republican who's running for Congress. And he's like, you know what I can do to get attention in this district? Capitalize on this Christian martyrdom thing. So that guy comes out and he says, President Trump asked us to pray for our nation. Coach Campbell showed us what it looks like to stand for faith, even when it's hard. Which it was not, and no one was oppressing him. But this guy, I love the idea of a Republican candidate who's like, I'm going to jump on this train right here. So Campbell has done nothing heroic at this point. He turned a competition for kids into a showcase for his ego. And this guy, this congressman, who, by the way, ran for Senate like last year and got destroyed in the GOP primary.
For being an idiot.
He is like
what am I supposed to think of somebody who got destroyed in a GOP like primary? Does that mean he's actually a good dude, or does that mean he's like even dumber than the rest of them?
I think it's just name recognition, but he ran for Senate in 2024 against Marsha Blackburn, who is now the senator, a Republican senator from Tennessee. He lost in that Republican primary, 89% for her, 11% rounded for him. And the funny thing is, I looked at this guy's campaign website, because rabbit hole, and it said, in 2024, over 43,000 Tennesseans stood with me. And that's why I'm running for Congress. What he doesn't mention is that, 368,000 Tennesseans stood with Marsha Blackburn, and that's in the primary. Anyway, so here's where we're at right now. As of this moment, as far as I can tell, there's no indication.
Now that guy's running for Congress, you said?
That guy's running for Congress. Okay. There's no indication Campbell has returned to the school or the coaching staff.
Okay.
I have heard no announcement that he's been let go from either of those roles either.
Okay.
So I'm waiting for that. What is interesting is that I was reading what right-wing websites were writing about this dude, because, this is just
fodder.
They love this. Yeah.
It's chum for them.
One conservative outlet interviewed a lawyer who now works with a group that was started by Mike Pence. So it's a conservative legal group, but it's like, they're not the MAGA people per se.
Yeah.
But anyway, that guy, he was hearing this story and he was asked to offer his thoughts on it. Even he was like, really? You want me to defend this?
Really?
Here's what he said. Quote, my understanding is that Campbell's prayer time was during a game where the football players are there to be coached on strategy, tactics, getting them pumped up to go back on the field. So that's pretty different from the Coach Kennedy case, is what this dude said.
Wow.
Which is pretty different is conservative Christianese for man, that's illegal. I can't defend that shit.
That's impressive that we found a boundary that even they won't cross.
That's certain conservatives won't cross.
Well, we talked about this maybe a year or two ago about the concept of kayfabe. Do you remember this at all?
It's all performance.
Yeah, kayfabe, it comes from professional wrestling of I'm Hulk Hogan is Hulk Hogan, but he's playing a character, but you're always kind of in character, and sometimes it bleeds out into your real life. And I find it really funny when what I see as Christian kayfabe, which is like the Joe Kennedy of it all, when even they are like, dude, this is nothing. Like you obviously can't read the Bible at football players like while they are snapping. Like that's not, you can't make us do this. And
Can you help us not go get a shutout? That would be...
Yeah. Like, honestly, these people probably actually care more about football than they do about religion. So it's all specious.
it's just a matter of which religion they care about.
What a mess. So how long what do you think is going to happen?
I think they are going to remove him as the football coach. This is my prediction based on nothing. They remove him as a football coach because he clearly is not going to stop doing this shit. I don't know if any of this is a fireable offense if he says he's not going to do this shit. But I think the sheriff's investigation will probably just be like, all right, we're eyes on you. We're watching this. Don't let it happen again, but you can keep your job there. Which, honestly, as long as everyone's on top of it,
I mean, this is how we kind of hope this stuff should resolve itself.
You got caught. We told you to stop. And even if you're not getting... I don't need them to get fired. I'm not a right-winger who's like, oh, you mentioned Charlie Kirk in a sentence.
I don't need a lawsuit.
I don't need any... Right. It's just take care of it and make sure it doesn't happen. The school seems to know that. And I don't need this guy to get fired. I just need him to stop.
Yeah.
And it looks like everyone involved is like, yeah, this does need to stop. So... it's a matter of whether this guy says he will stop. But again, we're waiting on the sheriff's office report to come by.
Yeah. But isn't it interesting how like something like this, hopefully if everything continues kind of as it's going, it's going to kind of snuff itself out versus it only took a principal or a superintendent or a school board member to be like, oh, no, I'm going to take up this fight as my own. Yeah. And the lawsuits come in and they cost their places money. So like, this is the goal. You're like, people are always going to do stupid stuff. They're always going to try to toe the line. But, we have checks and balances in place, and this is what it should look like. Hopefully...
it's what you want to see.
Hopefully somebody doesn't grab this and appeal it up to the Supreme Court, because who fucking knows?
I mean, there's no lawsuits over this.
I know.
This is not even a case that looks good, and the Christian side seems to know this is not a case that looks good for us.
No.
All right. Let's move to a different story here. Let's talk about Vermont. It's an update to a story we have not talked about in about 2 years.
Ooh.
But let me give you the background here, and then I'll give you the update. 2 years ago, there is a school called Mid-Vermont Christian School. And basically the story is if you're a small, rural Christian school... and you might have sports teams at your school, but like who do they play against? And you want to get in on where the competition is.
I think so.
You ask the public school districts, can we play against you guys? And in Vermont, they have the Vermont Principals Association that oversees athletic competitions at the high school level, basically.
Is this when the wrestling
we'll
one,
get there. No
basketball.
Wrestling involved. Basketball. Anyway.
Yes. Playing on a Sunday?
Here's what happened.
Doesn't matter. You tell me.
Here's what happened. 2023, the Christian school is supposed to play against some public high school in one of the brackets for girls basketball. The Christian school says, wait, I'm sorry, the other team has a trans player on their team.
Yeah.
We don't want to play them.
Boo. I'm sorry, how old are these kids?
High school. And the head of the school, the principal of the Christian school, is basically saying, we believe playing against an opponent with a biological male jeopardizes the fairness of the game and the safety of our players.
Did you read that correctly?
That is her voice.
No.
That is what she said.
Opponents with a biological male?
Yep. That's what she said.
This is not true. I do love how like transphobia makes people into these just like babbling buffoons of nonsense of like, I just need to think of all of the words that rhyme with value as I can, and that will get me out of this thing. So, I mean, none of these people explained how safety was an issue. What if you just have a very athletic biological girl on the team? Like, she's gonna kick your ass. Gang, I'm like 5'3", and I was all over the court. I was a monster to play with. How's the game going to be unfair? No one has any idea. I'll kick your fucking shins right in. Right. That's not true. And also, this is high school. It's about let the kids play. What the hell? This is truly a conversation Heaven and I just had off mic about like people's shit with high school activities and athletics is just out of
For what it's worth, that school, the public school that had the trans athlete on their team, their record going into that tournament was 14-6. Hardly undefeated, right? Like just a normal good
winning
team.
record.
So anyway, what happened after that game? The Christian school's like, we are going to forfeit because we are not playing against this trans player.
Yeah.
And so the official score is like 1-0, or at least 1-F for forfeit. And in the next game, that public school with the trans player, guess what? They lost the next game. They're out of the playoffs.
All
Okay,
right.
That's how it goes. But here's where it gets interesting. The people running the tournament then had to decide, well, what do we do about this? Because the Vermont Principals Association, they have policies that are anti-discrimination and pro-inclusion.
Oh,
and the thing is,
yeah.
like they have a zero tolerance policy when it comes to, quote, discrimination based on a student's actual or perceived sex and gender.
And they're doing a favor for the Christian school to let them play with their things.
Now,
they're guests in this house.
By the time the actual overseeing committee found out all this stuff happened, the game was already over. The Christian school had forfeited, so there was nothing for them to do immediately.
Sure.
But 2 weeks later, they basically had discussed it. They made it official. They said, hey, Mid-Vermont Christian School, we're kicking you out of our league because it was a unanimous vote.
I mean, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, because state law forbids discrimination against out trans athletes, so this wasn't even a hard call. But this athletic association basically said, you're not following our rules, and that's what you got to do if you want to be part of our league. And the director of that group put it bluntly, if you don't want to follow VPA rules, that's fine.
Yeah.
But then you're just not a VPA member.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds easy.
Now, the Christian school pretended they were persecuted. They appealed the decision, and they sued state officials for not accepting their anti-trans beliefs. And basically in November of 2023, with the help of Alliance Defending Freedom, one of those right-wing groups, they did file a lawsuit saying the state violated their First Amendment rights by preventing them from practicing their religious beliefs about sexuality and gender. That is the argument they made. It was a 71-page lawsuit. They cited Supreme Court decisions that said, like...
Was it all lorem ipsum? Like, they accidentally left it in there?
They basically said if a state gives benefits to public schools, they can't deny them to private schools.
Without good cause,
which doesn't make any sense because you were given that option. They did extend the offer of letting you join the league, but they wanted access to the benefits without following the rules. Like, I don't know, you don't have to be a lawyer to figure out these are not identical situations.
No, and this is very much the way, like, when churches try to glom onto, like, public services, even though they're not paying property taxes, but they're still taking more than their fair share of resources. And it's all of this. It's just white people who think they're special and don't have to follow the rules because they're wearing a little T.
And they said the state was putting us, the school, in an impossible situation here because we only have two choices. One, abandon our religious beliefs, character, and practices and adopt and follow the state's gender identity rules so that we can participate in athletics and a different program.
That feels like the only answer.
Or number two, adhere to our religious beliefs, character, and practices, miss out on these middle school and high school sports,
but at least
lose tuition reimbursements and lose students that are necessary to keep our doors open. Because if we can't participate in these competitions, a lot of parents are like, well, then I'm sending my kids to a different school. So they're like, what do you want us to do? It's an impossible choice here.
It's not.
It's their choice. Like, you don't get to have your cake and eat it too.
If you can point to me the Bible passage that says that trans people aren't real, then fucking fine.
Yeah.
You can do that all day and night. But until that, you didn't even know what trans people were 10 years ago. Do not act like this is part of, like, your long, brave, historic record of being anti-trans people. Like, hey, yeah, we've been kicking down all through history.
So this is how we talked about it a couple years ago too. They were never punished for their Christian beliefs. They were punished for refusing to adhere to rules that amounted to, you have to have basic human decency.
Yeah.
And these Christians are like, what? No. So anyway, that's how a federal judge saw it too, because in June of 2024, a judge just dismissed their request for an injunction.
Oh, good.
Saying that it looks like Vermont's Principals Association, they applied the rules fairly across the board. They were not singling you out as a Christian school. They just said, you're not following our rules.
Yeah.
So like, they had every right to kick you out.
Cool.
So that was June of 2024.
Oh, Christ. Okay,
Yes,
that was so long ago already.
The Christian school appealed it.
Great.
And they basically argued, nope, it's still religious discrimination. They said the league allows other teams to forfeit games, but they're not kicked out of the league. They said some schools forfeited during COVID-19.
Wait. That's not the same thing, though.
That is not the same thing as what happened to them.
Why are you pretending that it's the same thing?
Right.
Like, I thought,
They
is
were
it
not
about your
kicked out of-
deeply held religious beliefs, or is it about, like, everybody forfeiting?
Yeah, no, they did not get kicked out of the league because they forfeited a game. They got kicked out of the league because they forfeited a game because, they openly said, because they have a trans person on the team.
Yeah.
They said during COVID, there was a team that forfeited against another team because there was a student who had an exemption to wearing a face mask.
Oh, shit.
And like,
No, thank you,
basically,
please.
those teams were not kicked out of the league. And the district's like, these are different situations. We handled it separately, whatever.
No, because
So the appeal also said the Vermont Principals Association harbored hostility toward us by kicking us out. And here's what they said: that the VPA has only applied its newfound forfeiture justifies expulsion policy to religious schools that cannot compete against males who identify as female is basically evidence of bigotry. But there is no forfeit justifies expulsion policy.
That's just a thing you made up.
Yeah, you made that up. They didn't kick you out because you forfeited. It's not because of that. Anyway.
Stupid.
So here's your update.
How much money did this cost?
Too much. Here's the update.
Yeah.
This past week, the Second Circuit Court of Appeals,
Okay.
there's a 3-judge panel that's looking at this case with 2 Trump judges. So you know that's going to end well.
Okay.
The third one was a George H.W. Bush appointee, still a Republican, but
I'm
not
sorry.
great.
How old is he?
He is 302.
Wow, happy birthday.
Yeah, so the Second Circuit panel said, yeah, we agree. The Vermont Principals Association's decision to kick out the Christian school, quote, was not neutral because it displayed hostility toward the school's religious beliefs.
Do you want to see hostility? Because I can demonstrate hostility.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So the conservative judges turn it over.
Yeah, so they reversed the ruling, and the judges said, basically, there's plenty of proof of the association's anti-religious bias.
Oh, sure. Like what?
Well, the guy who's the executive director made a speech in front of the state's House Education Committee. He was there to support a bill that would block private religious schools from taking taxpayer dollars. At the time, that was a thing.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, it's a good idea because lawmakers should not continue to allow misuses of taxpayer dollars to effectively discriminate against many of our children.
Well, that sounds really
fair.
reasonable.
And the
fair.
judges said, see, that's evidence that he doesn't like religion and religious schools. That's evidence of his anti-religious bias. They said such testimony supports the inference that the VPA's punishment was informed by hostility towards certain religious beliefs.
This is bad. This is bad.
Then they said,
this is double plus bad.
Then they said, well, the Vermont Principals Association said playing against a trans student doesn't violate your beliefs. This is when they were kicking that school out.
Okay.
They said, we're not asking you to give up your faith.
Yeah.
But like, you can't forfeit a game because the other team has a trans player.
Right.
We're not asking you to accept trans identities at all.
Yeah.
Like, a Mormon school doesn't give up its faith when it plays a Catholic school. A Christian high school doesn't shed its faith when they're playing against a team with the trans athlete.
Yeah.
So like, this has nothing to do with your faith. And the judges are like, nope, we don't buy that logic. That statement, I'm quoting here, that statement did not just question Mid-Vermont's religious sincerity. It also attacked the validity of Mid-Vermont's objection. You're questioning their Christian faith and what really matters to them. You're saying this doesn't matter to your faith. Who are you to tell these Christians what matters to them? How dare you? We are Trump judges.
Like, okay. This is the question I'm going to ask for the rest of my life until I die from asking this question too many times. Are they sincere or are they using their power?
Are you talking about the Christian school?
No,
or
the judges. Do they genuinely believe that this is an anti-Christian thing, or are they seizing on this moment of, listen, the guardrails are gone, the brakes are off?
I mean, the answer is yes to both. And they added, simply put, the Vermont Principals Association may not impose discipline based on its view that Mid-Vermont's religious objection was, quote, wrong. You don't get to decide what matters to them. And finally, the judges noted that kicking this school out of all extracurricular competitions overseen by that league, which, by the way, the league has since rescinded that. They said, we're still kicking you out of certain athletic competitions, but like the spelling bee and things like that, you could still participate in.
Can they compete against trans kids in the spelling bee?
It's a very good question.
Thank you. I would like to hear it.
But they said the VPA ignored the detailed procedural requirements governing its disciplinary process, as in they did not do a formal investigation into the school when this happened. They didn't issue a preliminary report before instituting its decision. And I can tell you why. It's because there's nothing to investigate.
Yeah.
The school just said, we're not playing a
One
team
thing
with a trans
happened,
player.
and they're like, well, you can't do that, so bye.
Right. So the end result here. Here's where we're at now. The Christian school will be allowed to compete in Vermont's public league once again, even though they don't want to play by the rules. And they're allowed to do that because their religion provides them cover for bigotry that would be unacceptable from any other school in the same league. For what it's worth, the case is not technically a done deal yet, but the decision says the Christian school can move forward as if it's already won the case. There's some technical stuff to work out.
This is why I don't understand the court system, because they can appeal and appeal and appeal and appeal until they get the right answer.
I mean, I think the judges weighed in and they said, school's already started. You need an answer to this now. Go ahead. You can compete and we'll issue a final decision later.
Kind of like the...
There's a lot of things like that. So for now, the executive director of the VPA... I don't think they're going to appeal this anymore. They don't want to fight this anymore. It's
I can't imagine they have the funding to continue to battle this.
It's just like, all right, I guess we'll let them back in, but we think we made the right decision, but it doesn't matter. He said in a statement, we don't harbor any hostility toward religious viewpoints, just for what it's worth.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think this decision, it gives all these Christian nationalist institutions a playbook for weaponizing religion when you want to use it against equality. Just say whatever discrimination you like. It's all because of your faith. Oh, we don't like kids of a certain racial identity on another team. Well, we're Christians, so it's fine, and you can't be mad at us about that. Oh, we don't like LGBTQ students? Whatever. It's because of our faith. And if you say it that way over and over, the courts will be on your side.
I know it's not a one-to-one, but I can't stop thinking about, there's a book, and no, I'm going to pull the author, but it's called What We All Lose.
What We All Lose?
What We All Lose, I believe is what it's called. And it was basically about kind of the general 20th century history of, because people were so obsessed with getting black people out of public spaces, white people themselves lost a lot of things. And the only example I can think of, which is fairly small but symbolic, is swimming pools. There were many places in the South where they, before, especially when air conditioning either was non-existent or only for wealthy people, they integrated pools. And white people were so upset with having to share a pool with black people that they just drained the pool. Nobody gets the pool. And I know it's not one-to-one to this, but like, really, we're going to go into, like, you're going to fight in the court system just to block a kid from a 14-year-old from playing basketball?
Oh, no, I mean, to be clear, they weren't trying to stop the player from playing, but they didn't want to be punished for refusing to play, which, by the way, for all this thing about like, it's unfair to have us play against a trans student. You know what's unfair? Forfeiting a game because the other team has a trans player and depriving your own girls a chance to show their skills on the court. I'm sure those girls would like that opportunity.
Yeah, everybody
and same with the other team. Even though they won the game by forfeit.
That's not why that's not why we do this. We do it because we want to play.
Right.
Like I feel like sports have just always been this weird battlefield, and I don't know if it's like the toxic masculinity of it all, but it's just such a wild sort of cooties feeling of like you're running around like afraid you're gonna get infected. It's just truly such a wild way to live your life and pretend that somebody who's just trying to do their, like, imagine thinking
it's
like
happening all this week. I mean,
in central Vermont is like trying to take down Christianity. Like she's just trying to live her fucking life.
Right. I mean, this week on maybe a tangent, but like post the Charlie Kirk stuff, what you've seen is people on the right who are like, what did Charlie Kirk stand for? He stood for free speech and open debate. Oh, and by the way, if you dare to quote him or criticize him, we're coming after all your jobs. Right before we went on air, Jimmy Kimmel has been canceled by ABC.
Oh my God, are you serious?
Yeah, because he was like talking about the MAGA reaction to the alleged shooter.
Oh my God.
It didn't say anything that I found offensive. Not that I would, but like he didn't say anything that was out of whack, but they're looking for any reason to go after anybody. Ryan Walters, our little friend, is like, if you know of a teacher who said anything on social media, I want to fire them. So like, here's the
to
tip
defend
line.
Free speech.
Right. They're using their faith and their power to go after anything they don't like. And they don't care about the hypocrisy.
A prime opportunity to cull the herd as they see it.
Yeah.
Oh boy, I'm gonna puke.
And same thing with the reason I bring that up is because we're now seeing religion being used as a weapon, and the courts are buying it thanks to the Supreme Court of just saying, I don't want to follow these particular rules, and
I don't feel like it.
I don't feel like it, and my religion says it's cool, and you got to let me have that now.
Yeah,
that
is devastating.
Let me jump.
No, don't jump. Can we just meander for a minute? Can we just plod for a moment?
It's not great.
This is so bad. Do you have anything that's not going to like make me actively cry?
I have puppies at the end.
Oh, good.
That's a lie.
God damn it.
Let's talk about, we'll come back to that particular aspect because there's more. Okay. I do have a story where Christians got in trouble.
Oh,
and they deserve
I've heard of that happening.
So,
hit me.
Okay. Beginning in 2027, our nation, for those who don't know, we have military academies. And basically, if you want to be not just a fighter in the Army, but like an officer in the Army, leading the Army, you might get a scholarship to go to West Point and get trained in like the
drill team stuff and climbing rope nets.
Leading the Army.
Push-ups.
There are service academies for every branch of the military. The Navy has one. The Merchant Marines have one. Whatever. There are like 5 different service academies.
I don't think I know what the Merchant Marines actually are. What are they?
I don't know.
Okay, fine. Keep going.
But there are many of these. Anyway, those academies, because they give full ride scholarships to people who get in, it's like really hard to get into West Point. It's really hard to get into the Naval Academy.
You have to have like 6 consecutive family members who also went to West Point to be considered.
It's really hard to get in. And so their standards are really high. And because they're giving you all these perks, especially if you stay in it, it's a good deal if that's the sort of thing you want to do. So what they just announced this week, the Defense Department, is that starting in 2027, the military academies, which normally, like any elite university, is like, yeah, we got to see your transcripts from high school. We want to know how you did on the SAT or the ACT. And here's your admissions requirements. They said that in addition, you don't have to submit your SAT or ACT anymore. We will accept standardized test results from the classic learning test.
Wait, is this the same one or a different one that we've talked about before?
We've talked about this, but I think it's been about 2 years, because the reason we talked about it 2 years ago is because Ron DeSantis in Florida was like, we're going to make a push For the CLT test, you can call it the cult test.
Love it.
There's a more dirty version of that.
The clit
acronym
test?
as well. Thank you.
Camera, give me the camera. Clit test.
There you go. So beginning in 2027, they're going to accept the CLT results instead of the SAT or ACT. It's another example of the government lowering its standards because conservative Christians want them to.
No, you're thinking of DEI. That's the thing that's lowering standards, not completely making up a special test just for your special friends.
And for those who don't know what we're talking about with the classic learning test, like maybe this seems harmless. A lot of colleges are like, let's do away with standardized test scores altogether. We'll take your essays, personal statements, things like that.
There's definitely
there's criticism.
Economic bias.
There is criticism to be had about the SAT and the ACT, and that's fine. But this is not about the tests.
In hindsight, the fact that wealthy families could hire tutors to train their 15-year-old idiots to ace the ACT or SATs, in hindsight, I guess it's always been pretty fucking classist, huh?
Yes. And so here's the deal with the CLT. It is a test used by a lot of private Christian colleges because it's widely seen by conservatives as anti-woke. Because the SAT and ACT... The SAT, they say, is too woke. Because here's why. Here's their actual reason why.
Can't wait.
The CLT emphasizes, and I'm quoting, deep comprehension of classical texts. Whereas, and I'm paraphrasing now, the SAT and ACT, when they have their reading passages and you got to answer questions about them, they can pull from a lot of places. Okay. They may pull from modern literature. Op-eds that were written in newspapers over the past couple of years. Things that address modern issues.
Is that woke?
That's what they call woke. As opposed to, we can use passages from religious literature. We can use Plato and Aristotle, like the cool kids read these days. So that's their push. They're like, the SAT and ACT, they use they're quoting Ta-Nehisi Coates, and they want you to read an essay from one of his books. But in our thing, we don't use any of that modern stuff. We use the classics.
And when they say classics, are they talking like literal classics like Aristotle and Plato? Or are they talking like quote unquote classics like the Scarlet Letter and things like that? What do they mean by classics? More towards
Plato and Aristotle and stuff like that.
And I assume the ACTs and SATs can use those
Yes, the
things.
ACT and SATs but can, they can use also passages from old ancient literature, philosophy, whatever. Their pool of where we draw material from is just way bigger.
I think it's more important that somebody should be able to read and understand contemporary works.
You would think.
Than it is for them to understand Plato and
that's why you're woke.
Like that.
So here's but here's another problem. That's not the only issue. The problem with the CLT is, okay, fine. If there's evidence that a score on the CLT correlates to success in college, okay, that would at least be an argument then we could have. But it really isn't there because that test launched in 2015. It's been taken by about 100,000 students over the past decade.
That doesn't seem like that many.
By comparison, the SAT was taken by 2 million people last year. And the ACT was taken by 1.4 million people last year. Again, the CLT has been taken by 100,000 over the past decade. So the stats about whether these tests can predict how successful you're going to be in college, there's just more evidence for it when it comes to the SAT and ACT. And by the way, those tests are constantly revised and updated. And again, they have criticism. I've made criticisms of them. I'm not defending them necessarily, but there is evidence that, if you get a good score on those tests, it's proof that you're going to be generally okay in college and vice versa.
Yeah.
That's not the case for the CLT.
Or you're a really good test taker and didn't do homework once in your stupid life.
That too. It's not perfect, but there is correlation. Furthermore, about 85% of the students who take the CLT are white. 99% of the people who take the CLT attend
Christian.
private schools or charter schools or are homeschooled.
Oh, that's a twisterooski. I assumed it was going to be art Christian, but it is just not in the public school system.
Right, which is generally Christian, but doesn't have to be.
I mean, I guess it makes sense. They have their own little universe of education. Yeah. They might as well make up a test too.
It is the sort of test you create for students who come from a conservative Christian background, but don't really have the academic chops to compete on a level playing field against stronger students who attend public schools.
Well,
because if those Christian kids, the homeschooled kids, if they were getting excellent scores on the SAT and ACT, like by and large, and some do, but by and large, you would not need an alternative, but you need a way for them to compete and look good against really good students from public schools. And while there are always anomalies, like it's just not a thing. So in recent years, the CLT has become like the test of choice for Christian colleges like Hillsdale College in Michigan that feeds the right-wing pipeline, while the SAT has become like a boogeyman for conservatives because who runs the SAT? The College Board.
Satan.
The College Board they think is too liberal. College Board also runs AP testing, advanced placement testing, and the College Board will do things like have African-American literature as a class.
Boo.
Right. So then, if you look at the CLT's Board of Academic Advisors on their website, I had to look at this again.
Any PhDs on there? Just a lot of BAs?
There are some who I'm like, okay, I get why you would put them on the list. I get why you would put the dean of a Christian college on that list of advisors. But they also have like conservative activists like Christopher Rufo. They have two.
I'm sorry, is that
How
Christopher?
do you not know that?
Who's Christopher Rufo?
Oh my God, he's the reason DEI is a thing. Because he goes on Twitter, he's like, you guys, let's make DEI a thing and use it against liberals. And then all the right-wing people are like, sir, yes, sir, we are all individual thinkers, independent thinkers.
And we're the NPCs.
Yeah. Anyway, so Rufo is one of their advisors.
Rufio.
Cornel West, who ran for president with, who was it? Not Jill Stein. He ran an independent campaign. Maybe he ran with Jill Stein. And also on their list of advisors, two random podcast hosts.
Us? Is it me?
Yes, you are one of them. Congratulations.
Oh my God, congratulations.
Yes. So here's the thing about the test. Like, so they're academic.
Podcaster is on the thing.
They're two Christian podcast hosts.
It took me 3 months to set up a very simple video feed. We should not be trusted with the education of Americans.
Yeah. So in some ways, if you look at the CLT, some of it's familiar. It has math, writing, verbal reasoning, fine. But the topics are more narrow and more religious. And it highlights the centrality of the Western tradition at the expense of everything else. What does that actually mean in practice?
Is it just all about the Roman Empire?
Yeah, it's 100
like
questions about the Roman Empire.
Alexander the Great and before.
I mean, what that means in practice is there's a preference for works that are white, Western European, Judeo-Christian. Like, there's
it's called
a joke.
Real literature.
The joke is like, what is history? It's like dead white guy stuff, right? And if you think dead white guys are the pinnacle of education, as opposed to modern writers who might cover a wider range of topics and offer different perspectives, well, then this is the test for you. I am shocked Kevin Sorbo has not been their spokesperson yet.
Oh my God, he hasn't?
No. Here's an example. This is from the New York Times a couple of years ago. Here's a sample passage from the exam.
A couple of years ago?
A couple of years ago.
Oh, okay.
When Florida was considering making it their next big thing, and they kind of still are. But a sample passage featured a section from The Way of Perfection written by Saint Teresa of Avila. Okay, I don't know anything about it.
Oh, really? That's so weird. You haven't heard of Saint Teresa of Agrippina?
I know. But while that passage could appear on the SAT or ACT, like the SAT, like we said, has more options.
Yeah.
They might choose that, but they may not. The CLT, is all about that kind of passage where someone has written about the importance of faith and all that. By the way, the questions are not exactly tough either. And this is the thing. If you've ever taken a standardized test, SAT, ACT, you know, there's the one right answer, but there's also the one distracting answer and maybe two distracting answers. And if you take the tutoring and you get and you're a good test taker, you know, you try to weed out the dumb answers.
Yep.
At least get it down to the plausible answers, and then you can go from there. There are strategies to use after that.
I'm sorry, as an ADHD good test taker, that's none of the shit I did. I was just like, I think that's right.
So a writer from Mother Jones took a practice CLT test in 2023, and they were like, there were questions I could answer without even looking at the passage.
Funny.
For example,
because they're such well-known passages?
No, because it's just a dumb question. Here's the question. It was about a passage from Plato. They had the passage. And here's the question. According to passage 1, a man can minimize the lawless wild beast nature inside of him by doing what?
Masturbating.
Close.
Okay.
A, getting enough sleep. B, accepting his own corruption. C, practicing his power of rationality. D, fighting against tyranny. This is what Plato said. How do you minimize your lizard brain wild beast nature? Getting enough sleep? That
Accepting
sounds
your own
dumb.
corruption has to be it, right?
Accepting your own corruption is a plausible choice. So is practicing the powers of rationality. Fighting against tyranny seems like a weird way to quell the thing.
That feels like the opposite of what they're looking for.
And anyway, what the writer for that article said if it's Plato, it's probably powers of rationality.
Oh, fair enough.
That was the right answer.
I took one philosophy class in college.
We've commented a long time ago on a Christian homeschooling curriculum called the Accelerated Christian Education Curriculum. And when people make fun of that curriculum, outsiders, it's like their questions are so basic that there are 3 obviously wrong answers to the multiple choice. It's not educating anybody.
This is like the Oklahoma
test. This is very much like that. And also, the College Board has commented on the CLT, and this is what they said. In reviewing a published CLT practice test, we found that 25% of questions were below high school grade level.
Oh, no.
For example, statistical concepts are not tested on the CLT. Basically saying you're not going to get a good sense of how good a high school student is going to be in college through this test. But anyway.
Wait, I'm sorry. When he said stay against statistical
concepts are not even mentioned. Mean, median, mode, standard deviation, nothing like that.
Clopped out an entire section of what people should be expected to know to go to college.
Yeah. So anyway, all that said, this Republican administration says, if you want to get into one of our elite military service academies, you can take the CLT and we'll accept it starting in 2027.
Oh, God.
And, maybe you think this doesn't really matter because who cares about the passages on a standardized test?
Yeah.
But think about how students have to prepare for this exam, because this is really why it's a big deal. If more states pass this, like Florida has tried to pass it, and they've pushed for years to get more schools to accept the CLT in Florida, that means educators may feel pressured to put more religious essays and excerpts in front of students so they get used to reading passages like that, which is kind of the point. That's why conservatives want this to happen.
I don't know. I understand all this, and you're correct, but I'm thinking back to my high school literary education in particular. I read Sinners in the Hands of an Angry God in high school.
I did too.
As
Jonathan Edwards.
Yeah. I think Jonathan Edwards is the great-grandfather or grandfather of Aaron Burr, which is neither here nor there, but it's just kind of funny how the world works.
But we had educations, public school educations, where they did incorporate religious writings in our curriculum because it's a part of it.
Well, and arguably Nathaniel Hawthorne, the Scarlet Letter is just a religious, fucking half the shit we read were just religious allegories. Okay, yeah, I'm sorry, continue.
The weird thing is you don't even need to say, hey, elite military academies take the CLT. The alternative, if they don't want to accept the SAT or ACT, is don't. Just say we're done with standardized tests and we're going to accept you based on your essays and your personal statements, maybe an interview, maybe your high school recommendation letters. But the fact remains, if students have to take a standardized test, they're still better off taking one of the known battle-tested exams, despite their flaws, rather than this faith-promoting alternative that only exists because conservatives had to create their own shittier version of something that already exists.
Do you think, I want to know what you think. I feel like in the last, say, 20 years or so, the demographics of people who go to college have shifted browner than they used to be.
Okay.
Do you think that this is any way of a sort of reaction of trying to keep
these places white? No, and I'll tell you why. Because they're not saying we're not taking SAT or SAT scores. We just want to make it easier for homeschooled Christians to get into these places.
I see.
By the way, Indiana Congressman Jim Banks, who is a Republican from Indiana, right? He introduced a bill in May that would mandate the CLT's test acceptance at all these academies.
In Indiana?
he said, I'm passing a bill that would require all these schools to accept it.
Okay.
And it would force any school run by the government.
Oh boy.
So like
Here
they
we
have
go.
schools on military bases and overseas. All those schools would have to administer this exam. Now, the Defense Department's saying, hey, we're going to make the military academies accept the CLT starting in 2027.
Yeah.
That kind of takes away from his bill. Like, we don't need to do that. We don't need to pass the bill because we're already doing it.
Undermining it in other ways.
But when he even suggested that bill, Pete Hegseth chimed in and said, we're going to make this happen. The CLT is the gold standard, and our academies need to attract the very best. And then he drank.
Wow.
It's not the gold standard. It is not the bronze standard. There are no standards.
Another maybe unimportant question, but my understanding, and I only took did you take both the ACT and SAT?
I am brown, so yes.
I only took the ACT, and I am not sure why, but my understanding is the ACT is more how you learn. It's read this and analyze it, whereas the SAT is like what you know.
I feel, and I don't know this for sure, it's been too long, I feel like the SAT has changed to get away from like straight up vocab.
Oh, really?
I think they got rid of the analogies that were famous back in the day.
Analogies are the best ones. Hammett is to Jessica as Dottie is to... That's like how is a raven like a writing desk? There's no answer. No, I'm the Lewis Carroll of my generation, and I will not be questioned.
All right.
Except for, I want to be clear, by the Lewis Carroll of my generation, I do not mean I molested a little girl named Alice and then invented a fairy tale world all about her. That's not what I meant.
Yeah, that's not a good comparison.
I just meant I'm kind of silly.
You just outed yourself in the worst way.
I hate myself.
There
This was a mistake, this whole thing.
All right, I got another update for you. Here's your one happy update for the day.
Okay.
I got two happy updates in a row.
What?
Are you ready for this?
Yeah, hit me.
Do you remember we talked about it not that long ago, but there was a pastor and his wife, Eli.
Yes, the crypto people.
Eli and Caitlin Regalado.
Yes.
And long story short, because we talked about this not that long ago, they basically encouraged their supporters to give them money, buy into their crypto.
So they could buy a mansion.
And they used a good chunk of that money, and I'm quoting, they used at least $1.3 million and spent it on, quote, a Range Rover, jewelry, luxury handbags, cosmetic dentistry, boat rentals, and snowmobile adventures.
Okay,
home renovations,
fucking rules.
home renovations, and an au pair.
An au pair.
Because they're not taking care of their kids.
No, they're busy taking care of God.
And without getting into everything, they really hammered home this is about faith. Have faith in us. They had a white paper where they said, look, this is a thing that tells you how awesome our crypto is.
I'm sorry.
And
I
it
used
literally
to write white papers myself.
It literally said 2019, it's worth 46 cents. Today, it's worth about $10. But in 2028, it'll be worth $86.
Because projections are just straight up.
And it's just a number they just shat out. Yep. And then they had their white paper, like, who are our advisors for this crypto? And like their operations team included two guys named Jose and Oscar, just one name.
Wait, what?
That's it.
Jose and Oscar?
Jose, and it didn't have a last name. And Oscar, their real names were not provided.
And who were they? What were they being?
Lead developers.
Developers.
Yes, and then they had a prophetic team who had a woman who serves as a prophetic voice for Index Coin's spiritual intelligence team.
Oh my God, the rackets that I could get in if I didn't have a conscience.
Right? And in 2024, there was a lawsuit filed by the state of Colorado. And then Eli, pastor dude, he offers a video saying, you guys, we're getting sued over this.
Now we need more money for legal fees.
It's ridiculous, he said.
So ridiculous.
He also said, like, what about the claims that he pocketed $1.3 million for all that shit?
I didn't pocket it. I spent it on sneakers.
Here's what he said in that video. You guys, $500,000 went to the IRS. And a few $100,000 went to a home remodel that the Lord told us to do. He did not mention that. First of all, that still leaves a lot of money. He didn't mention that $290,000
Well, he didn't have to take statistics in high school, so he doesn't know.
There you go. He didn't mention that $290,000 was put into the bank account for his church, which is online only. Because they needed
the
a new
overheads
webcam.
of an online...
Yeah.
I mean, listen, nobody knows better than me how hard it is to set up an online presence. So.
At one point, he said in the video, you guys, I prayed to God. I said, quote, Lord, I don't want to do this. I don't know how to do this. I don't have any experience in this industry. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't want to be caught up in something.
Who's he saying this to? Me?
To the video he's making to his supporters after he was sued.
So he's blaming God for committing a crime?
He's like, I'm just doing what God wants me to do. Mm-hmm. So anyway, they were sued by the Colorado regulators for this sort of thing. And this is the last time we talked about it.
So, a month or two?
It's been a while, but over the past year, while the scam was under a microscope, this dude has been posting through it. He made a video where he was sitting outside a pool. He's like, you guys, we didn't do anything wrong. He was mad at the securities commissioner who sued him. He's like, you are a liar, liar, liar. I hope you get back in the office after your holiday and you see this and you see what you've done. Shame on you. You are a crook. And then 2 days later, he posted another video from his home that was and I'm paraphrasing, you guys, I'm sorry about that video.
I was beside myself. The spirit moved me.
This past May, there was a bench trial, where the securities commissioner basically said, I want to hold on all their assets. I want them to pay back $3.4 million that they took. And that civil trial was in May. That is when we talked about it, because now they were on trial.
Shit.
And as it stands, because at the time, their assets were frozen. They could not sell their garbage coin in the state. They could not have access to any of their fundings. Mm-hmm. And so why am I talking about this? Because last Friday, the judge finally issued her decision. Ooh. And the Securities Commission only made it public yesterday as we are recording this. And so what did the district court judge say? She sided with the Colorado Securities Commissioner.
Okay.
And agreed that, this is fraud. This is 100% fraud. This is what the judge wrote. The defendants, the regulados, the defendants' lack of understanding of the harm they have caused to their investors, coupled with their admitted desire to continue and expand the index coin scheme, leads the court to conclude that a ban on selling is appropriate. She went on to say, the defendant's assertion of the value of index coin were misleading at all points of the offering.
So at no point did they tell the truth.
At no point did they tell the truth. She said the coin was never going to be worth what the algorithm stated.
The algorithm or his back of the tissue?
What their algorithm said it was going to be worth was bullshit. And then she said, rather than coming clean, defendants then made multiple posts and communications to their investors, assuring them that the exchange would come back online and that each investor would be able to sell their coin. Defendants knew this was not true.
Defendants, okay.
So bottom line is,
boy, I love calling a spade a spade.
They now have to pay back $3.4 million, and they are banned from selling crypto for, I think, the next 20 years.
Is that the end of punishment?
Well, I'll get to that in a second. By the way, Eli Regalado told the Denver Post this week a lot of words.
Oh, sure.
None of them involve the word sorry.
Can't wait to hear him.
He said via email to the newspaper, on behalf of all index coin holders, our Heavenly Father, in whom we serve, will deliver us. I don't know what that means anymore.
Was that the end of the sentence?
There are other sentences,
the end of the sentence is will deliver us, period?
Will deliver. He'll help us. He will save us.
Oh.
I'm sure. Both he and his wife said during the trial, we're not criminals.
No, we're just
because,
idiots.
Quote, many people got saved by this project. And by the way, they also added, they're not giving us money to invest in their financial futures. They're giving us money to join in religious fellowship.
Ooh, so this sounds like a cult.
Yeah, right?
Isn't that exactly what a cult sounds like?
Pretty much. So here's the thing. That was a civil trial about money. And the judge said, you got to give back the money. But when
that was a civil trial.
That was a civil trial. But when we talked about this back in a couple months ago, the reason we talked about it is because a federal lawyer has gone after them for criminal charges for what they did.
I guess I didn't realize
and they were in front of
yet.
They were in front of a grand jury. There were 40 counts against them. They were indicted on 40 counts, and we are still waiting to hear the result of that thing.
Really?
A judge is still hasn't issued a ruling in that case.
Is there any way to guess the way the wind is blowing?
It doesn't look good for this couple.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing we're waiting to hear is, are they going to jail?
That's what I was...
They got to return the money. That's what the civil trial says. Criminal trial's like, are they going to jail? And we don't have that answer yet.
Do you have sentencing agreements, but outlines?
I could
guidelines?
not figure out what the potential range of options is for if they have to go to jail, how long it could be.
Well,
I will say one last thing here, which is the judge in the civil trial who just said, you can't do crypto anymore and you got to give back all the money.
Yeah.
Here's how she kind of ended her decision. Throughout the proceedings, Mr. Regalado offered this quote, "I will put the key of David on his shoulder. What he opens."
What does that mean?
It's a Bible quote from God. I will give David power.
Oh, okay.
I will put the key of David on his shoulder. What he opens, no one will shut. So I'm giving David the power. I'm sorry, I'm screwing that up, but whatever.
Who cares?
Here's what the judge said. The quote seems apt, but for different reasons. Here, the Regalados used index coin to open up a revenue stream and then closed that revenue to others when they closed Kingdom Wealth Exchange, leaving hundreds of people without a door to retrieve their investment.
That's
basically
the Republican
taking
way.
his Bible quote and turning it back on him. Very nice. Well done.
Love it.
So we're waiting to hear about the criminal trial. Yay.
Boy.
We'll see.
And man, oh man, like if people got as mad at people like this as they did at like
Jimmy Kimmel for quoting Charlie
I was going to
Kirk.
say trans dudes for just like existing.
Yes.
Because the ire of the Christians is vast and it's pointed, and they constantly shoot wide of anything that could even be close to being a good person.
Yes. I got one more happy story for you.
Okay.
Then we can call it a day. All right. So, do you remember Ryan Walters from your favorite state?
You say like I don't remember Ryan Walters from Oklahoma. Okay.
Ryan Walters, in December, he released a new set of social studies standards for like K through 12th grade.
This isn't the AP ones, right?
What is that?
This isn't the AP standards. This is different.
This is different.
Oh, okay.
Just what do you have to learn in social studies classes from kindergarten through high school?
How good white people are.
And one of the things when they released those standards are they whitewashed a lot of things, took away Black history in a lot of ways. Yes, but then
so weird.
That was in December. He had to post it publicly so the public could weigh in on it. And they did, and they were mad. And then the Board of Education had to vote on it in February. And so Ryan Walters is like, you guys, here's the revised version. You need to vote on this tomorrow at the meeting. And we have to do it now because the legislature has to act on it. So there's no time.
Yeah, and I slept so late. I couldn't get this to you faster.
And some of these Board of Education members were brand new. They were just appointed by the governor, Kevin Stitt. And they're like, we did not have time to look at these. Because Ryan Walters said he made some changes to them. He didn't tell them what. But they're like, there are changes to this. We need time to look through it.
There's no time.
By the way, one of those guys happens to be dyslexic. He also needed time to read through it, but Ryan Walters is like, no, you got to do it now.
No, God would never make somebody dyslexic. The Board of Education
passed the revised standards that no one got to see. The public did not get to see. And when the public got to see what they passed, they realized that in these standards, Ryan Walters wants to tell kids that the 2020 election had, quote, discrepancies, that there were security risks with mail-in ballots, that sudden batch dumps
which is the thing
influenced the 2020 election. None of that is true. He said COVID originated in a Chinese lab. There was no proof of that. He uses the phrase Gulf of America.
He does not.
He does.
Is that okay? I truly thought they were joking for like 6 months. I thought they were joking. They're not joking. They're
never joking.
They're so fucking stupid.
Yeah, and then they removed the requirements that taught about racial discrimination, certain ones. And Black Lives Matter.
Tulsa, there's never been a black person in Tulsa in their entire life.
And don't ask us about any massacre.
Oh,
and more
God.
importantly, those revised standards, they treated the Bible as a foundational document.
Perfect.
They cited, quote, Judeo-Christian ideals in supporting colonial demands for independence. They cited the teachings of Jesus of Nazareth. They wanted students to explain how the Constitution was, quote, influenced by religion, morality, and the Bible. It is as if David Barton, the Christian pseudo-historian, came in and wrote these standards.
And he probably did.
So There were 2 different lawsuits after this was, by the way, the legislature was like, we didn't need this today. You had 2 more months before you voted on this.
And also,
but the legislature said, yeah, we do have the power to make you go back to the drawing board, but we're Republicans, so we're not going to do that. So these standards were accepted and school year has started. These are the standards that are now in place that K through 12 teachers have to use in the classroom. So over the summer, there were 2 different lawsuits trying to put a stop to this. One of them was filed by Americans United for Separation of Church and State and what's called the Oklahoma Appleseed Center for Law and Justice. They were working together on behalf of like 36 sets of parents and their kids, saying this violates my religious beliefs. This is false information you're teaching. They also pointed out Ryan Walters violated the state's Open Meeting Act when he tried to get the school board to pass his modified standards without letting the public see the revisions in advance.
Yeah.
He lied to those school board members about needing to vote on it now when they had more time. And they also violated a state law that says academic material has to be accurate and age appropriate. So they sued for all of this.
Okay.
And those revised standards were set to go into effect when school starts now. Now, what happened is when they filed those lawsuits, those were intended to put a stop to that.
Okay.
But it also didn't help that we talked about this. Textbook publishers, including some of the biggest ones, were like, we're not doing any of this shit.
Yes.
Because our reputation's on the line.
I remember this now of like somehow the textbook against all odds, capitalism saved us.
Yeah. Yeah. And so this left school districts in a bind. They could ignore the standards, but then they risk getting punished by Ryan Walters and the state. They could move forward with the standards and have teachers like offer disclaimers about the bullshit parts, but that's way easier said than done.
Sure.
They could just cave and make students dumber, which is what Ryan Walters wants.
Which apparently is the Republican Party's goal.
But now, I mean, it's been a few weeks since school started, so it's like we're getting into the parts where you got to start teaching the stuff they want you to teach. On Monday of this week, the Oklahoma Supreme Court, they weighed in on this finally now.
Oh, God.
And they voted 5-2 to put a temporary block on Ryan Walters' curriculum.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
Wait.
They did the right thing.
Make sure I'm right. They did the right thing.
They said, we are blocking the 2025 curriculum from going into effect because they're weighing in now, and they're like, we still need time to go through the lawsuits.
Yeah.
But for now, we're putting a block on it. For what it's worth, 2 justices recused themselves from the case, and 1 dissenting judge said, I just want to wait for lower courts to weigh in before we jump in on this, which is interesting, but it's still a 5-2 decision.
I guess I don't know what that means.
The Supreme Court jumped in before all these lower courts weighed in and said it's illegal.
So somebody like,
get in on this now.
Like tugged on their
pretty much
robes and was like, hey, help us here.
So what happens now?
I don't know.
The lawsuit says the decision from the Supreme Court is like 2 pages. It's short.
Wow.
It just says we're putting a stop to this now. For now, all the public schools go back to your old standards.
2024.
2019 is the last time they revised these standards.
Oh, I see.
And like schools can say, well, there has been time that has passed and a lot of stuff that's happened. That's on you. You figure that out.
Right.
But go back to the old standards, which people were generally fine with.
Sure.
In the meantime, we will keep weighing in on this lawsuit.
Yeah.
But also they said the state lawmakers had allocated $33 million toward implementing the new curriculum into public schools, which is a normal thing that they do. But that's for creating tests, conducting trainings, purchasing textbooks.
Yeah.
The Supreme Court says no public funds can be spent advancing the new curriculum.
Wow.
We're putting a freeze on that.
And do you have a sense of, is it because he did not do the correct procedure, or is it because this is obviously...
They didn't get into it in their decision.
Do you have any instinct on...
I think they're very much looking at, I mean, if he did break the law and how he did this, then that's what we might have to rule on.
Okay.
It's not about the Bible stuff so much.
It's not about the content. It's about how he put it into place.
It's possible.
Okay.
And the also important is the Supreme Court says we are going to hear this case directly, and we're not going to wait for the lower courts to start ruling on this. Like, we will issue a ruling soon.
So the one guy who dissented was like, we shouldn't have stepped up in the
we
first
shouldn't
place.
even temporarily block this.
I see.
We shouldn't be their first stop. And the Supreme Court decision, the 2-page decision is like, nah, we'll be the first stop. Let's just get this over with.
Because it's just so egregious and it's so
because it affects
wide-sweeping.
students. It's a big deal. It's right now. Let's deal with this. And so that is good news. The church-state separation groups pointed out, this is from Americans United, these new social studies standards would violate students' and families' religious freedom by promoting one version of Christianity and advancing Christian nationalist disinformation. Not on our watch. Public schools are not Sunday schools.
Wow. Good for
Ryan
them.
Walters has responded.
Oh, you don't say? He had something to say?
He had something to say. He says, the court is embarrassing and clearly is out of step with Oklahomans.
Right.
They are ignoring the fact that in other states, the Bible is openly taught as the cornerstone of Western civilization. Christianity,
Citation needed?
None given. Christianity, American exceptionalism, and conservative values are under attack, and the Oklahoma Supreme Court is leading the assault.
The fact that these people are obsessed with American exceptionalism is, I find, so telling and so deeply embarrassing.
I mean, that's how you know they don't know anything about American history.
Fuck. Just the same way people talk about, like, well, when you're in America, you're free. And it's like, I guess when you say free,
just don't turn on your TV.
Yeah, I guess I just don't know what you mean by free. Because, like, the only thing I've been kept from doing is, like, petting service dogs in public. And I still think I'm fairly free.
By the way, the Oklahoma Supreme Court is overwhelmingly Republican. I think Ryan Walters is mad because this is the same set of justices who told him he's not allowed to have his publicly funded charter school that was Catholic.
Yes.
And they shot that one down too. That was like a 7-1 decision. And the Supreme Court's decided we're not taking this case up.
So do you think he's overplaying his hand?
Yeah, I mean, Ryan Walters' whole thing is I'm going to throw as much shit on the wall as I can. Some of it will work.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what he did this week. He had a snitch line. If anyone knows of any teacher who posted anything about Charlie Kirk on social media.
Undermine woke people.
Yeah.
He'll do.
And so the fact that he got shot down for something big that he did should be a big deal. But I mean, you won't find any trace of it on his social media feed, which I looked at. And he didn't even mention this anywhere because he's busy talking about how awesome he is everywhere else.
Yeah.
By the way, there is a second lawsuit against these standards. A lower court judge tossed out that lawsuit, and those people have appealed to the state Supreme Court, but they haven't weighed in on the second lawsuit against these standards. So right now it's the Americans United one that is winning the charge here.
I should take a law class because I don't understand how multiple lawsuits in different avenues
We're
can
suing
all
for
be.
different reasons. It's not identical. We're not working together.
I see.
And so sometimes if two cases
So one
kind of
thing
reach,
is like a First Amendment issue, the other one is like a financial something
maybe
thing.
I mean, sometimes if two cases reach the court at the same time, the court can say, it's the same thing. Let's combine them. It's the same case, whatever.
Because they did that in this Oklahoma case recently.
Possibly.
Of that second family sued, and they're like, yeah, we're going to wrap them up with the other.
There was another case that Ryan Walters lost about the 10 Commandments, and I think in that case, they just took up one of the cases brought about by the Attorney General and ignored what church-state separation groups were doing, but it was the same result, so who cares?
I see.
But in any case,
some
good news. It's weird that I'm like, thanks, Oklahoma Supreme Court.
Yeah.
Again.
Yeah.
Because they are saving the voters from their own shitty decisions.
I mean,
in electing Ryan Walters.
I hate to say this, but like the governor of Oklahoma, the Supreme Court of Oklahoma, at least gives me some tiny, like little bit of hope to hold on to that not every Republican is just off the cliff. You know what I mean?
Brad Raffensperger, who was the guy in Georgia, lieutenant governor of Georgia, who Donald Trump called Georgia in 2020. He's like, I need these many votes. I need 12,000 votes in Georgia.
Sure.
And the lieutenant governor was the guy who's like, we're not doing that.
Even though he's Republican.
Was Republican, and he got like
Did he get drummed out of...
He got drummed out of the Republican Party. He just announced he's running for governor of Georgia as a Democrat.
Whoa! Sorry, that was so loud.
Yeah, but like that's the thing. Some of these people who are like, I'm still a conservative, but also
this isn't it. Whatever y'all are doing,
Trumpism ain't it. They're just getting kicked out of the Republican Party. Whether it's like Liz Cheney, whether it's Mike Pence. Like, no, these are not good people. but I guess enemy of my enemy at this point.
It really is. It's can we piece together a coalition of unhappy conservatives and all of the liberals
Right.
and
the answer is gonna be no.
No, we
but I
classically
appreciate you trying.
can't.
Yeah.
I don't know. Boy, this
So-
is rough.
So some good news to end all this, maybe.
Yeah, I guess, but
I'll have a more interesting, happy story next week. We'll see. What are we talking about in bonus? I've been sitting on it, but there's too much news that pops up, and I'm like, I'll wait. It's now been a month, I think.
oh, okay. Will you tell it
Random.
to me off mic?
No.
Okay.
What are we talking about in bonus?
I've been really deep in the rabbit hole of British procedural, not even procedural, but British murder mysteries.
SVU London?
No, God, how fucking dare you? I am talking about like the Jetty. I'm talking about the ABC, like Agatha Christie stuff.
Ah, okay.
But the one I particularly want to talk to, which I want to be clear, is not BBC, but it's of the piece. It's a murder mystery comedy called Deadlock.
Okay.
That takes place in Tasmania in Australia.
Okay.
And it is a feminist crime that like shitty men in this town keep being murdered. And it's truly funnier than it has any right to be. And it like 3 people from the cast. I'll just talk about that in bonus. Never mind.
All right.
I forgot what I was doing here. And then a show called The Jetty, which is pretty interesting. I liked it. I liked the performances.
Excellent.
Yeah, I kind of want to talk about the Osage murders just because it feels so similar to what's happening, but it's not.
Excellent.
Yeah. Do you have anything you want to talk about?
No, we'll talk about all that. We'll see you next week. And again, go to patreon.com/friendly atheist podcast.
See our
And if you are a
faces.
$5 a month donor, you could see our faces.
You can
on
see me
here
doing
on video.
jazz hands right now.
That is
Give me the
also
camera.
true
Give me the camera.
of
Give me
the
the camera.
bonus. I'll shut up. Go.
No.
Take the
Camera. It doesn't matter. I'm still
There
learning
you
how
are.
it works. Hey, jazz hands. That was fucking nothing. Phil, I'm going to see if we have any reviews.
Sure. We will do a regular episode next time.
Next week.
And
I hope everybody. I want to make it clear. You can still just listen to. Like somebody was like, I only listen to this when I'm driving.
that's
so
fine. You can still do that.
You can
We will
absolutely still
give it
do
to
that.
you.
Nobody's okay. Here we go. We have a couple new reviews. This is from Octoboy 8. That's redundant. Informative and entertaining. Jessica and Hemmett are a fantastic combination. Hemmett does a very impressive amount of investigation, and Jessica provides color and emotional depth through her reaction and commentary, which is some much-needed amusement with how depressing the news is these days. Thank you. It's the dynamic they share, which makes this podcast something I love listening to. It's not just basic information nor off-the-cuff chitter-chatter. It's educational while also being a joy to listen to. I truly appreciate both hosts for making my week better. Hi, Jessica.
Thanks.
5 stars. That was really
That's
nice.
very
Thank
nice.
you so much. We will talk to you at the bonus.
All right. See you soon.
Goodbye.